All right, so real quick here, I made some adjustments. I figured out some of the things I was doing wrong here, and what it came down to is when I'm talking to GPT, often I'd end up messing this up, and instead of doing 0.09, I'd tell it, hey, make this, distance 0.9, because I keep saying it physically or audibly 0.9, and that's wrong. That's very wrong. That's a distance of nearly a meter. So where I'm looking for specific gestures to be like here or like here, right? Instead it's looking like here, and it's like, oh well, it's not at that distance, so we can't do the gesture, especially when I'm doing greater than 0.9. Then I have to do it way out there. So I fixed that, found that in all the gestures, and I adjusted some stuff. So now we have a bunch of gestures in here, and all of the things are tracking correctly. So I'm gonna just pop in here, and again, like I said, I'm not a programmer, so I can script, right? So GPT will do it in the proper syntax and context, and will make the functions as I tell it to make them properly. So the logic is there. I can do logic and I can tweak. So that's really all you need, and then you just get the programmer to do it. So that's what I've done. I've made the adjustments necessary. I've also created, I don't know if I showed you this while I was doing it. I made a body, colliders that I can use for the body. So we got the hands here, we had the hands up there somewhere. It's probably actually within that. We have a head, we have the body that's going to surround you, and we have the feet. Now, I've got the head tracking properly. You can see here, I've got the head anchored to the center eye anchor. Makes sense. It's right about where the headset is. But the problem is now when I turn the head, right, if I rotate the head, the body is rigid, so it rotates with the head, and that's not accurate if you're doing one of these, right? So I'm gonna have to change it so that basically what's gonna happen is if I'm standing, right, the natural movement is if I look around, nothing changes, right, except the rotation of the head, which it will. But the body itself, I want to stay unless I start moving my head closer to the floor. So that gives me a point of reference. So if I move closer to the floor, my body naturally rotates, right? Like does that on the Z. So I'm gonna create a function so that when the head gets closer to the ground, we assume that the body is rotating from the front of the head, it's rotating backwards. So we're gonna do a lever on the body. And that'll be accurate, because if I go like this, great. If I rotate like this, I don't know why you would rotate backwards like that, especially when we're in a VR headset. We're going to assume they're not going to do it, and they're not going to do it. But it'll be fine. So I'll do that later. Right now, I just wanted to make sure that the gestures themselves, because that's the biggest point of the game, are working. So I'm actually going to go through here. I'm going to find my hands. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to leave them on. I'm just going to pop in, and we're going to see how it works. Just point this so you can see me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop it to the game. All right, so here we are. We got my hands. I still have the colliders on. They'll stay on until I create everything I need to. But we know that these work. So right now our hands are open. I've adjusted it so that if I close a fist, it doesn't have to be like super close. It knows. It assumes, hey, you're closing a hand, you're closing a fist. Great. So that's pretty consistent. And if I close both and the fists are close to each other, I'm in a fighting stance now. So if I do this, I do this, I do this, right? It knows. Other than if it like loses track of your fingers, but it knows, hey, this person's in a fighting stance because both hands are in a fist and those hands are within a specific distance. So bam, you're in a fighting stance. Cool. So I've got gesture 1, gesture 2, gesture 3. We've got the hands open. I won't count those. I made a point and I fixed that. So we have right hand point, gesture 4, gesture 5, gesture 6. This is how I'm going to do locomotion. So basically, since I'm doing a game that is entirely hand gestures, I don't want controls at all. I want to turn this into a very natural movement, natural functioning thing. And of course, locomotion has always been the most difficult thing. So what we're going to do I'm going to raycast the hands, right? So the pointers, they're going to be the significant thing. And based on the direction you're pointing, you're going to start moving in the same way as putting, pressing on a joystick. So I'm going to be doing things, I want to go over there. I'm going to be like, bam, move. Over here, bam, move. And wherever these two are pointing, that's where you're going to go. Now, what if I did this, right? Technically, that's fine, right? So I'm just going to do it by one of the hands. I'll pick one of the hands because either way, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So, yeah, both hands should be facing forward. I'll see if I can figure out some logic or something like that. Maybe it's the raycast, right? So even if I did this, both fingers pointing technically, but they're pointing in a different direction, well, you're still going to go forward. I'll raycast it so that wherever the user is facing, if both hands are pointed to move, then that's where you're going to go. You're going to go to wherever you're going, wherever you're looking. And that way it's not like weird like this. So wherever you're looking, you're going forward. Boom, because you can turn your head. Problem solving already. All right, so now I fixed the thumbs up. So same thing, right? We know the fist. So I made sure that the fist also was calculated there. So we have a thumbs up here. We got a thumbs up here. We got a double thumbs up. Again, within that distance. So, and of course we got the prick. So now we got a bunch of hand gestures that are tracked using all this information. And we can start adding some functionality onto that. So when these things, for instance, when double thumbs up is detected for the left and right hand, do this thing, you know, spawn something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But this right here is proof enough that those gestures are working. And these are custom gestures, so it's great. Let me see if I can remember them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I count this one? All right, let's do it. Let's start with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll call that 7, 8, 9. That's 9 gestures. Let me take a look at my paper here. 9 gestures. Yeah, 9 gestures. But actually, there's actually more. 10, 11. So I need to make this one too. Why not? So this will be 12, 13 if I do that. So the palm is going to be touching the opposite hand thumb. So I'll do that real quick. Palm touching the opposite hand thumb. Cool. And actually, I'll do that live for you. Why not? Okay, where is my GPT? New gesture. What was it? Paper over rock. One hand by fist hand. Let's see, now by open hand. Open hand's palm touching the fist hand's thumb. So this way it knows I need 2 gestures, so it's going to do left hand and right hand. It's going to do 2 new gestures. It's going to detect for left hand and right hand. It's going to create the 2 gestures as well as the calculations for it. And it knows that it's going to check against the palm and the thumb touching. And when it sees those two things, it's going to give me my my gesture detection. So I'm going to go ahead and take my script, which is saved. I'm going to drop that into GPT. Because again, I want it to update. I don't want it to forget anything because GPT, it's still a computer, right? So computers are stupid. So it will forget and it'll just create a new script altogether and it'll forget variables. So I always give it the existing script as it is, as I want it, and I tell it to add to that. So it's going to create these two gestures. And then I'll just go ahead and slide this over here. And then I will grab my script. Let's see what it does first. So first it's going to do our update method. Left paper over right rock, and then right paper over left rock. So grab that. These are new gestures, so I'll put them in the gesture section. Let me make sure that's there. Okay. I know there's an error because we have the gesture function, but we don't have the gesture functionality, which is down here. I ignore everything else because I don't care what it's saying. It's just telling me what it did, which is what I wanted it to do. We save. No errors. Move these guys out of the way. Yep. And then we just pop right back in. So let's move this back up here so you can see me. Pop on the headset. As soon as I can see something, there we go. Okay, so we'll log in. Should be in my game here. There we go. And okay, cool. We're in. We're in. What was the gesture I just did? Okay, so fist, right? So we have our fist. Then we have our open hand. We're going to put that on top. Right? Okay, so there's, oh, I see. Because if I do that, you see how the thumb is moving? So I need to adjust the distance. Wow. So that's a hand detection thing. But if I did this, left paper over right rock, that's accurate. Fist, right rock over left paper. We just need to get, or Meta needs to get their crap together so we can get this right. Because that works. Oh my gosh. It really doesn't like my left hand. But right paper over left rock. Right paper over left rock. We see it triggering. But there's, oh my gosh, it really just loses left hand. It doesn't lose the right hand as badly. But left paper over right rock. Maybe I'll just adjust the distance. Right paper over left rock. Yeah, I'll adjust the distance between the palm and adjust the distance between the palm and the thumb. Paper over rock. 0.7. So this is touching. So I'm just going to increase that. Let's make it 0.6 because again, it doesn't really matter all that much. It's fist. Oh wait, no, this stays. Okay, they're all both 0.4. What is this here? That's touching all these fingers. Open hand, yep. Open thumb, 0.7, sure. Is fist. Okay, so we got the fist calculation, we got that. This one, thumb to palm, that's what we need to change. So we go over to our gesture, that's where that's pointed out. So we're going to increase that number to 0.6 for both of them. So that's significant. And then we'll go ahead and pop back in. And so even if our hands are a little bit further apart, it should still detect. That way we don't have to lose the hand tracking until things get a bit higher fidelity on the hand tracking part. But that's hardware, not me. So we just need it to work. All right, so we're back in. Fist, open hand, bam. Left paper over right rock. You see how consistent that is? It isn't freaking out. So I can be like, bam, yeah. Accurate. Boom. Right there. Right rock over left paper over right rock. Switch it up. Left fist, open hand. Right paper over, oh my gosh. Stop losing my thumb. Right paper over left rock. Open hand. What is wrong with this one? Oh, because it's lose my other hand. Why is it? Oh. Is there like a reflection or something going on here? Okay. Right rock over left paper. Left fist, right hand open. Are we calculating that? Is that different? Oh, left rock over right paper. There it is. Left rock over right paper. That's what we want. Again, right rock over left paper. So yeah, that's working. Perfect. So that's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 gestures that we've created just based on this, albeit a little complicated system. But simple enough. All I had to do is create these fingers with the little spears that I've attached to the bones themselves so that they move with the hand. And I created the palm and I created the back hands. So in doing that, I just had the script go through a tedious but not complicated text detection for the distances. So everything that I do is being calculated. Everything is being calculated. Every movement and every distance between my 2 hands. So as far as it can go, those distances are being calculated. And obviously the closest things are always going to be your hands themselves, because you can spread out your fingers, you can bring them close. All right. That's index to palm, fingers, closeness. This is the closest one. It's these on the outside here. I can get my fingers as close as I can. Did I do this one? Oh yeah. Oh no, I forgot these. So, the major looks. Yeah, so I fixed that one too. So that's 15, 16. So 16. I've got 16 gestures. I am super proud of that, and I will be showing you, moving on to the next step. I still need to create the rest of the gestures I need for the game to work. I've got a list somewhere of all the gestures I want to create, but we will eventually be there once I have the gestures in. I actually need to put in the movement itself, so I know, and I need to put in the ray casting for everything. I'm going to ray cast all the fingers, so wherever they're pointing, that's going to shoot outward a ray, because obviously I need to be able to point and say, hey, if you're pointing at something, wow, maybe that turns on when I point. Maybe it does a superpower. I don't know. But I want the capability to utilize the orientation of my hands, my fingers, and my back hands to communicate in the game, and also to do things like move. So all of that requires ray casting. Of course, we're going to have the center eyes. Oh, I need to do a peace sign too. Let me write that down real quick so I don't forget. Peace sign. That'll be the next one I do after I pop off here. Yeah, so once we have all the gestures written out, we already have the system going. There's nothing else I need to create here. That is the end of it. I control the left hand and all of the associated things, the fingers closeness to each other. Same thing on the right side, and then specifically with my hands being close to each other, that tracks whether or not we're doing a combined hand gesture. And then of course the distance of each finger from each other finger. So for instance, thumb and left pinky, right thumb, left pinky. So I can do that and be like, wow, we are almost touching. It should be touching, but tracking is garbage. Stupid meta. But yeah, that's what it is. Cool. Wow. See you in the next one.